was asking. That's
And
all.
we're live.
Welcome,
We
welcome.
are live. Welcome everyone to the this is the fifth? Yeah, the fifth official White Pill Wednesday podcast. Bear with me. Let me just share my screen with you. Boom. There you go. Audio should be streaming too. Welcome everyone. Just as a matter of housekeeping, we've made kind of couple of changes to the White Pill project, just disseminating it across different channels. This link you can actually find on the profile here. This is the bio link on the X profile. It'll have all the places where you can catch all the various content. So the X profile, the Substack newsletter, the podcast is now also going to be up on Spotify and Rumble and also Auto Podcasts. So for anyone that's better with audio and you just want those releases, by all means, find whatever channel you prefer, whether it's Spotify or otherwise, and you'll be able to see all the videos. I post them on Rumble as well. The only shitty thing with Rumble is that unless you get the Pro plan, I think it limits it to 480 kilobytes, but we'll get this funded soon enough. But yeah, you can find it on Apple Podcast as well. There's also an email list that you can sign up for here. It's just in the top right when you visit on mobile or desktop. By all means, feel free. That's where I'll be essentially sending any updates regarding the project, any new releases. We have 2 interviews coming up. I'm going to try to see if I can make it happen either tomorrow or the day after. The first one is going to be with none other than Tuna. For anyone in Teapot, everybody knows him as the guy that's telling all the millennials to get jobs. Like he's aggressive to the point where like he has a group called Operation Get Hired. Whoops, that was my DMs. He all his posts just have to do with like getting people getting people hired. He does consultation calls as well with people, so it's not like just a meme. Like he actually like he does work on helping people with their resume and whatnot, especially a lot of people in the tech sector. Um,
All right.
so yeah, highly recommend shooting him a follow. Tuna is the fucking OG. And then our second interview, which should be coming up this Saturday if the schedule goes right, is with Jiven. Uh, for those that don't know, Jiven has he essentially create. Remember all those quizzes on Facebook that you would have with or like BuzzFeed, like which turnip are you?
Yeah, he is.
Right,
I
right,
like how
right.
he went straight to turnip, not like Disney character or favorite Pixar moment or something. No, just straight to fucking.
Yeah.
What
Like
root vegetable are you? Like,
yeah, basically like that. So he he is gonna be the interview guest for that day on Saturday there. Sorry, lost my track of thought there. Fuck, I'm a little bit sleep deprived. He made
sorry,
a bunch.
talking about root vegetable.
Yeah, I just kind of lost it there for a second. No, this guy, what he did was he created those not those kind of quizzes, but um that kind of platform for engagement on X. So you would go on this app, like Oralized here. You would type in your Twitter username. Like, let me see if I can type it here. And it'll actually give you a rating of your profile based on what kind of aura you have. Um,
What?
and so here's the thing. This started as a meme where like he kind of willed it into existence. Um, to essentially he just like he kept posting and posting and posting about aura this, aura that, and he kind of
Yeah.
psyoped people into thinking that, oh shit, like maybe I should get my aura tested, because he was actually starting to rate profiles, and from my understanding he's like, all right, fuck it, I can automate this, no problem. So he did, and so you have this like basic AI based aura calculator, but you can also get tips on how to improve your like Twitter standing so that you have
Yeah.
better reach, so that you have better engagement. and so on and so forth. So for anyone that's looking to get like monetized, stuff like this is definitely a good tool to start with. I think it's only like $5 or something for the sign up, which is quite cheap. And so like he'll actually like give you tips. So it moves on beyond the meme to like actually like useful stuff. Um, then there's other like shit like this where you create like a tier list or let me see here. Like stuff like this, like you would rank people on like a compass scale essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
Or people would make like posts like, "Oh, reply to this post and I'll tag you in this like ecosystem or whatever the fuck." So this is more like on the meme side. But anyways,
Again, I like
point
how
yeah.
you go straight to judging people rather than anything else on these. You're like, nope, we're judging people. Like,
Yeah, yeah, essentially, yeah.
you're on point on your examples today.
Yeah, man. So he made it he made these kind of like social engineering, not social engineering, but like social engagement tools for people, which I found really interesting. So yeah, he's gonna be the second interview guest. We got more people down the pipeline. I'm working on getting more and more different names to come on. If you guys have any suggestions, by all means, shoot me a DM on who you'd love to see come on. We already have Based Northman, who actually got suspended today for what was the tweet even? Let me see if I can find it. What was the tweet that he got suspended for? Oh, in the UK, providing B2B sales software as a service for the NHS will get you shot in the street. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But I recorded an episode with him. You guys can check that out on where is it? Up on Spotify. Right there, yeah. Base North Math. Right there. That's the man them. So yeah, just wanted to get that out of the way, letting you guys know the show is slowly but surely growing, getting more and more guests on. So if you, like I said, if you got anyone that you'd love to have on, let me know. But actually, one thing I did want to cover before we get into the newsletter. So that our prime minister almost fucking quit, eh?
Yeah, he was. I don't know. I don't know how deeply he was considering it, but it seemed like the sandcastle was falling fast. The the tide was arising. You know.
Sure, it sure seemed like it. For those
Well,
that
when you
don't,
watch big names like that just drop off, you know, it makes you think.
it makes you think. And for those that don't know, we had why is this? Wow, that's very strange. It's not even on like the top. It's not even on the top news. That is very weird. Okay.
I've
Let me.
seen it pushed on me more on fucking YouTube than I've seen it anywhere else almost.
I believe it. You know what I remembered the other day? That Canadians can't access news on Instagram or any of the meta services. And I totally forgot about that. And I was like, wait, no fucking way that's real. And I went on Instagram and I checked out like CTV News and Global News, um, and all these different outlets. And yeah, like they just straight up just like there's no access to the news whatsoever. So
Well,
everyone just
there's
goes on X.
sorry, go ahead.
No, no, go
Yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
go ahead.
No, but you bring up an interesting point because it becomes okay, Canadians can't access this information, but that doesn't mean that corporations and organizations aren't still prolific on these platforms for American audiences. You don't think there's a CTV News Instagram account for the States?
Oh yeah. There
There
definitely has
has
to
to
be.
be.
There has to be.
You know, CBC, 100%. So it's interesting that we're not allowed to see them, but they're still putting them out there in the world.
Well, you can't. That's the thing. You can't
It
even see it
wasn't a
on.
complete shutdown of yeah.
Like you can't see them on the Meta platforms, but you can certainly see them on like X. Like they're still all using X. I'm pretty sure. I don't think a single one of them
Oh,
um
100%.
has left. Let me see. Yeah,
Which is funny because I remember when they tried to slander Twitter or X the moment it got bought by Elon Musk is like, oh, this new haven for white supremacists is terrible. And they all jump on and use it, continue using it anyway.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
yeah. They're more than glad to profit off this. I mean, CTV alone has 2.3 mil followers. Global National 300K. CBC News is at 3.7 million. So yeah, they're glad to, you know, get their reach here. No problem. But yeah,
I
so
always
when
thought
I
global was bigger than that.
global, well, I think I did the global national, but if it's just global news, yeah, it's almost at a mil. Yeah, and they're on Blue Sky, of course. Of course, they're on Blue Sky. Of course, fucking classic. Um, but yeah, so for those who don't know, on what was it? It was Monday. Um, the fall economic statement, which is kind of essentially the uh, not the I don't think it's the budget. What does entail? What is included in the fall economic statement in Canada? I would assume it's just a budget, right? Like the budget for the year or what kind of deficit they're running. Um, okay, so economic outlook, fiscal projections. Okay, so just basic stats of like where the economy is and where it's going. Um, so Chrystia Freeland was supposed to actually deliver the fall economic statement like a month ago or so, because typically it's done in like November, but they just kept pushing it off because obviously Canada's economic health is not doing all that great.
Is
Um,
dog shit.
well, the richest province, like the meme that's been going on, is that the richest province, Ontario, is poorer than the poorest state, which I think is Tennessee.
Hell yeah.
Um, which let me pull that up on the screen because I want to make sure I got my facts right.
We poor as
Is
fuck, boy.
is the richest province in Canada poorer than the poorest state in the US based on GDP? Because I've seen this meme spread around, so I want to make sure that it's correct. So Ontario has 800 billion in GDP, and the poorest state is Mississippi, which is 124. Hmm. Where did I see that then? What was that claim?
It could just be a meme more than a claim, you know. The
Could
internet
very well
just
be.
trolling.
Yeah. But regardless, yes, the Canada's economy is not doing all that great. So she was supposed
Growing
to,
poverty crisis. Yeah, you don't say.
yeah, she was supposed so she was supposed to present that the financial statement um on Monday. Chrystia Freeland resigned without any notice, to the point where apparently Trudeau's team was up in the air as it was happening and had no prior knowledge to this happening, which is like this that's huge. Like she is the finance minister, which means
She
she
quit.
overs yeah, and she just straight up just quit without any notice. Um apparently her letter, like the actual letter itself, let me see if I can find it. The signature looked really, really, really odd.
has has anybody seen Miss Freeland after this?
Well,
She
no,
get
I
fucking
mean,
abducted? What
well,
happened?
look at that. Like, what the fuck is that? What is that signature?
That's probably like a bitch I'm out of here fucking signature. Like
I, I guess. I guess, but you compare her like signature. Like, if I look it up, people have been making comparisons that it doesn't look correct. It just looks very, very, very strange. Let me see if I can. Yeah, Blacklock's reporter reported that Freeland's signature in a 2021 document does not match the signature that she made there, which I don't think it's like a Biden situation where like, I don't think it's on that level where you're kind of like, is this a coup or not? Like I don't know. Um so it's all kind of speculation. We won't really, I don't think we'll really ever know if this was like a case of fraud. And even if it was, like, wouldn't she come out and say something,
absolutely.
you know?
This
I don't
would
know.
have
It's
been
just
nipped in
weird.
the butt in house.
Yeah, it's very weird how the signature came out. So anyway, so she quit, and on that same day, the housing minister, which I forget his name. Let's see here. Yeah, Sean Fraser. Yeah, he resigned, reportedly to spend more time with his family. Which, I mean, I don't know how true that is, because it's the same thing with Christie. It's like, how do we really know that's exactly why you're resigning? Like, maybe you just see the ship going down and you're like, yeah, I'm out of here, man. I don't need this.
Yeah. The rats are abandoning ship, especially with a housing market that looks like it does.
Yeah. And so, because of this whole storm, Jagmeet Singh also comes out and says that uh, he wanted Justin Trudeau to step down, but he kept refusing to say whether or not he would vote for a motion of non-confidence. Like, let's just listen to this clip here.
Oh my god, I can't stand this talk.
Are you willing to continue to support the Liberals if there is a different leader aside from Trudeau?
Right now, that's not in front of us. There's no votes in front of us, but we will take each vote. And right now, literally everything's on the table.
Oh my god,
Say that all options are on the table. So why are you holding out the option to still support this government? I understand that you're saying that you might, trigger a confidence vote, but why are you still holding out the option? What is the glimmer of hope that you're seeing to possibly support the Feds or possibly support this government in some other way?
Depends on the votes. And so I want to make it very clear. Justin Trudeau has to go. He has to resign. And because of that, all options are on the table. And we'll look at each vote and we'll make a decision.
Oh my god. See, we were talking earlier about how these individuals live with themselves. I don't know how you can stand in front of other people, let alone a national broadcast, and just repeat yourself like that, knowing full well that you look like a moron. And we all know you're hiding something. Like, how these individuals live with themselves, I don't get it. And it's the lawyer talk, eh? It's that friggin' lawyer talk. All options are on the table. All options are on the table. Just repeat that. Just stand there and repeat it. Yeah. We all know you're high.
It's very strange. I don't
You're
know.
You're one of our biggest political figures, and this is how we're playing the game. All right.
It's very strange. It's very strange because he has the power. Like, he does have the power. For those that don't know how Parliament works here in Canada, if at any point during the current administration the government essentially loses confidence from its citizens, the parties can trigger what's called a motion of no confidence, meaning that if they vote against, like, let's say, a budget, then that vote gets triggered. Or if they just vote against any kind of initiative and they say that they have no confidence in the government, then if there's enough votes that go through in support of that no confidence motion, then an election is triggered, and then an election happens, and so on and so forth. But the curious predicament right now here in Canada is that the upcoming election that's supposed to happen in October has been moved by a week ahead of what the date usually is, because I think it's about 6 years or so that parliamentarians have to serve before getting their pension, before they're eligible. Let me just double check on that. How many years do MPs have to serve in Canadian government before being eligible for pensions. Let's make sure we're correct on this. So 6 years, so for at least 6 years. So a lot of the parliamentarians that are having their 6th year come up in Parliament right now are going to be eligible for their pension come the week of, I forget the exact date. And so essentially, to make it so that these politicians within these parties that currently hold their seats are incentivized to vote and support the current coalition, well, it's not existent now because they broke the deal, well, quote unquote, they broke the deal between the Liberals and the NDP, but the NDP are still propping up the government by refusing to vote against it. And so if this election goes through in this time, all the MPs that are up for their pension are going to be incentivized to vote in a certain way to make sure that they get their pension. Because, like, it's quite a bit of money. Like, what is the average pension of MPs after serving 6 years? And the thing is, it's not
I'm
that
sure it's a good chunk of change.
Yeah, and it's not that the leaders of the party, like, they're well off. Like, they have connections, they have charities, they have foundations, they have assets, they have home, like, so on and so forth, right? Like, they have all these things. It's the people that are under them, right? It's the people that are just trying to get their political career started or in the middle of it, especially with the way that the economy is right now. These pensions fucking matter, okay? Like, these matter. So the annual pension says here from 32 to 49K, at least in 2019. And then the average annual retirement allowance for MPs was 73,000. I don't know if those two combine or how that works, but regardless, it's not chump change. Like, this is free money that they could get essentially if they just vote a certain way. And so now we're kind of stuck in this quagmire where the finance minister has left in a very dramatic way. The housing minister has left. The majority of Trudeau's initial cabinet that he started with in 2015 is gone. I think I saw a post yesterday where somebody actually, like, colored out how many people remain. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah. I saw that as well.
Yeah. 67% of his cabinet have either left or are on the way out. That was his whole fucking because
And Freeland's not even crossed off in that one.
No, she is. She's
Oh, no,
right
that's
here.
her there.
Yeah, that's her there.
Jesus Christ, that woman, that blonde woman over on the right looks like her too.
Kind of does.
They got the same face.
Have either left or are on the way out. That was his whole.
Dude,
fucking,
he even lost the wheelchair
because,
guy, and Freeland's not even crossed off in that one.
Yeah, that's a big portion of the population to lose, or portion of his DEI,
his original caucus,
or whatever the fuck. Yeah. So all these people have either left or been fired. I actually saw this guy in person. The ex. I don't think he was the finance minister. I forget his actual position, but I saw him once. He's actually married to the McCain family, like the McCain fries.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's married into that, into the frozen food one.
Damn, good for him getting into big fries.
Well, let me see. Here it is. Yeah. Nancy McCain of the McCain family is married to the former Canadian finance minister, Bill Morneau. Yeah. But in any case, so there's a huge chunk of people that have left the cabinet, and all these politicians are now coming out and saying, even from his own party, saying, like, you need to resign, you need to resign, you need to resign. And he still has not, which That takes some balls, man. That takes some balls.
No, it's
Your popularity has dumped completely.
Mhm.
Like just cratered, absolutely just gone to the point
He's
where
been gone
now
for years.
every poll is suggesting a sweep of the seats for MPs. Like, let me see if Pierre. I always misspell his name. God damn.
No, but that's the thing is when you put it like that, like in the context of how you just said it, of everyone's telling the captain, "Sir, the ship is on fire. We need to get off." And his willfulness to just stubbornly stand there, I don't. At that point, it's just saving face, which makes me question what Jagmeet Singh is doing, right? Is he still sitting on the fence of, oh shit, I supported these guys tooth and fucking nail and helped put them in power and stood behind them for this long? Like, if all of a sudden I turn around, do I look like the idiot? I feel like Jagmeet's still asking himself that in his head. That's why he's basically standing in front of us all and being like, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I cannot fathom what could possibly be going through their head. I genuinely
the
don't
thoughts.
understand.
Yeah.
I have no clue. It's very, very strange. But yeah, like, once again, here's yet another poll where the conservatives are going to clean house. And this was done on November 25th. Now, polls are polls. It's not accurate 100%, but the vibe in the country is shifting drastically. So the fact that Trudeau's hanging on and still saying that, yeah, no, we're gonna keep going for it. We're gonna keep pushing our agenda. We're gonna keep pushing the line and serving Canadians. And it's like, okay, like, dude, people within your own party are fucking calling to oust you. Like, come on. The sheer narcissism of it all, it's fucking mind-boggling. I don't know how you could.
That's the thing. Even that line, "Oh, serving Canadians." Like, how many times has he said that in Parliament? Being
Countless.
like, "Mr. Speaker, the opposition is clearly just focusing on so and so, while we will stand with them and support them all the way." It's like, okay,
It's
well,
fucking mind-boggling. I don't know how you.
well,
When in
that's the
reality,
thing,
he's
clearly
not.
not.
Yeah, he's not serving Canadians in the way that they need to be served at all. But yeah, just a little craziness. Just start of the week. I was ecstatic. I was really hoping that, yeah, he would in fact actually that he would in fact go through with it. But maybe another time. Maybe in a month or two. Maybe it's just gonna get like way too intense for him, and he's not gonna be able to hold on. If enough people keep leaving the caucus, then, I mean, who knows? Who knows what can happen? But I remain hopeful.
Yeah. You asked him to do the honorable thing, and unfortunately, that was our mistake.
Well, the funny thing is, there was he actually had a speech in this CBC article. He actually 1 week ago he spoke at Equal Voice, which is an organization that promotes women in politics, about his views on feminism, and mentioned Freeland directly, so the ex-finance minister. And the quote is, "I've touted the adage, add women, change politics, which is to us more than just words. We've taken action to make it a reality, appointing the first female finance minister, who then proceeded to quit only a week later."
That looks good.
So, he tried to play the feminism card, and like I showed in that photo.
And your token female supporter fucking ran. She fucking booked it. She didn't even empty her fucking desk. She didn't give the time to do her signature properly. She was out skiing.
Yeah. She was she was halfway out the door.
Jesus. The moment the Trudeau got on a plane, she was like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, you love to see it. You love to see it. But yeah, this is a photo of his old cabinet, and all these people have left. Crazy times we live in. Crazy times we live in.
Insane.
And on that note, we'll get into the newsletter
Speaking of the
stuff.
times we live in.
Speaking of the times we live in, you like that transition?
Mm.
I
Very
would be
professional.
I would be so good at ad
Very,
reads.
very professional, as long as the audio is running.
Once we get sponsored, dude, I'm gonna get so good at ad reads. Just weaving stories. I wonder who would be a good sponsor to get on this show. I'm wondering.
What's that company that does all the gum? Is it Wimley or something? Get like 5 gum on here.
Wrigley?
Is it
Say
Wrigley?
Wimbley?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's Wrigley. Yeah.
Wrigley, is that it?
Yeah. There's actually a factory, a Wrigley factory that was by my house. I remember.
Oh, for whatever reason, when I hear Wrigley, I thought of like Ripley's Believe It or Not, and I'm like, that's not the same thing. It's not even close.
Wrigley, Wimbley, and Ripley's are.
Shut up.
They're all separate. Bro, Juicy Fruit started in 1893. That's nuts.
Well, it's funny because I was watching a video when I got home today about 5 gum. Funny enough, and like their advertising campaign and everything for the time.
Oh, dude, the 5 gum commercials were so fucking good. So good.
And the fucking the edginess of it, like this weird, uncanny testing facility, and they go on to analyze it and say, like, you know, like here, like what the fuck is cobalt or flare or rain? What the fuck are these gum flavors? And the 5 gum is like, I don't know, but I guess you got to buy a pack to fucking find out.
Yeah.
5 gum.
Get these guys as a sponsor.
What the fuck? It's just gum, dude.
No, man, they went hard.
They did. Ooh. Bro.
Pepperminted cools as you chew. New 5 gum. Stimulate your senses.
Oh my god, dude. When this came out, the entire schoolyard was like, yo, that guy's got 5 gum.
Dude, we were hyped for gum, bro.
We were hyped for gum, dude. Holy shit. They're
They
collaborating.
succeeded.
Dude, they're collaborating with Razor's gaming beverage brand. Oh my god.
That's gonna be fucking epic.
Bro. Oh man.
Don't fuck this up.
I personally, Cobalt, definitely. Rain was shit. Lush on occasion. I think I tried Solstice once. But yeah, like everything about the branding just makes it look so sleek and so
Dude,
cool.
Elixir? What the fuck are these fucking flavors? Vortex?
Dang.
I've never even heard of these.
These are a limited edition.
They were saying, like, even the shape of the box was fucking unique.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because most gum like has those blister packs or whatever. But,
Yeah.
like this one, like it was like a fresh deck of cards that you were
Fucking
opening.
yes, that's the great comparison.
Yeah. Oh, Zing. Oh, I guess that was their bubblegum flavor. Damn, I never tried that one.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna say Zin. I was like, man, before their time.
But yeah, fucking 5 gum. How do we? Yeah, 5 gum would be a great sponsor. Oh my god, that'd be amazing if we could.
That'd be
It's
so
still
dope.
around. I still see it around every now and then. But yeah, onto the the actual newsletter.
Anyways,
yeah. So there's this phrase that's been floating around Twitter for the longest time now. At least in the circles that I've been a part of, which is like you can just do stuff, which sounds very ubiquitous, plain kind of like live, laugh, love for men, essentially.
Live, laugh, love for men.
Yeah.
That also sounds like a commercial.
Oh yeah, like that's what it comes off across as essentially. But even though it sounds kind of strange in that regard, there's a lot of power that you can draw from it. I mean, like now it's just become a meme because of how overused it is. But this idea that you have more agency than you think, and that you are capable of much more than what you are capable of right now, just kind of like unlocking those mental limits. It's of paramount importance, I would say, especially nowadays, because like we were talking in the beginning, like all those like very specific like details about like all these intricacies between politics and both Canada and America and all these different like systems kind of slowly breaking down, whether it's the news media, like the fact that Canadians can't get news on the Meta apps now, essentially, regardless of what platform you're on. So no Facebook, no Instagram, none of that. X is really the only place, besides maybe YouTube. Just all these different systems seem to be just like breaking down and crumbling all around us. That's the overarching message. And what has to kind of come in to fill that vacuum, to fill that void, at least I think, is a whole army of people that believe that they can just do stuff. Because fundamentally, like that's all that we're left with. Like all these things that we're kind of seeing crumble in front of us, the mainstream media, trust in politicians, trust in healthcare, trust in experts, trust in universities, trust in public institutions. All these things are just kind of failing. I mean, the biggest example was the case that we were talking about earlier about that guy that went out on parole, and he killed. Hold on, what was his name? Was that on the 401? I think it was on the 401. Yeah. So here in Canada, we had an incident. When was this? In April. A Toronto area man was involved in a robbery of a liquor store, which led to a high-speed police chase and a deadly wrong-way crash on a busy highway. And this man, who is among the survivors, was released on probation and warned that he may still face immigration consequences. This man has no citizenship in Canada. He's not able to speak English. They actually had to get an interpreter for him to speak with the police. And even though he faced, it says here, 13 charges for this whole crime. Because what ended up happening was they were driving the wrong way and they rammed into a car with an infant who was 4 months old, I believe. Let me see if I can... 3-month-old. Killed the 3-month-old infant and his 2 paternal grandparents. The parents who were also in the car were also injured. And so you have 3 deaths for $1,602.80 worth of booze.
Yep.
Like, what the actual fuck are we talking about here? How is this allowed?
Well, this is a perfect example of like a sense of a lack of sovereignty. You know what I mean? Like the fact that, first of all, that this gentleman was even here, but let's put that aside for a second. So, a man commits a crime, you capture him, you find out he has no citizenship, he has no papers, he's here illegally.
No,
and not only
here
do you
legally.
not,
like he came as like as a migrant essentially, so he has like paperwork to be here, but he's not a citizen. He doesn't have like permanent residence. Or
okay.
Yeah,
I thought we were talking about like a completely illegal. Okay, fair enough. And then my point is basically mute, other than the fact of how you don't punish an individual like this, who commits crimes against Canadians.
Well, yeah, but like it's not even a moot point because he has no right to be here. He's not a citizen. He's not a permanent resident. He doesn't have any guaranteed unalienable right to be here. He should be either charged with a crime and forced to live out his sentence for the remainder here in Canada. I don't know what the legalities around that, but it's either that or be deported so that he can face, I don't know, punishment abroad or whatever the hell. But just either keep him out of the country or put him in a jail. There's no other.
So, some form of punishment would be appreciated.
Not appreciated. It's necessary. It's needed. Like, you just let this man go free.
Yeah, it's a responsibility.
What's
to
to
punish
stop
this
him?
individual?
Yeah, sorry. What's to stop him from just disappearing into Canada? If he has no citizenship, if he has no permanent residence, what's to stop him from just being like, okay, well, I just got a free ticket out of jail, so I think I'm gonna go see if I can live with someone or just live somewhere in a town and start fresh with a new name. And like, what's to stop him from doing that?
Disappears into the vast wilderness that is Canada.
Well, especially also because here, did Border Services Canada lose track of 30,000 people?
Yes, I was gonna say, I thought I'd heard of a story that sounds extraordinarily similar.
Yeah, so yes, at least according to Perplexity, from the sources it cites here, which includes the actual government website for Canada Border Services, said that it has lost track of approximately 30,000 people who were ordered for deportation. So if they can't keep track of 30,000, what's this one person to them? Right? Exactly. So it beggars the mind. I genuinely don't understand how the judge who has made this decision is still allowed to keep his job. Like, legitimately, because at least in the US, when they've had cases like this, they arrest the migrants, they put them in jail, right? And people are still outraged, why did it have to go to this point? But now they're up here, they're not even putting him in jail. What the how?
No, at this point, Canada has become a safe haven. You can't do anything wrong here unless it's bigoted in nature.
Or actual murder.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no,
But even then, he just murdered people.
Even then, yeah, because technically it's he wasn't behind the wheel, but he was an accomplice to the crime, so his decisions led to these circumstances.
But then again, if that's your limit, is pushing the envelope of murder. Again, you have to go, why the hell does it have to get to this point? Look at the murder that happened in friggin' Barhaven. A couple weeks back, a guy showed up and killed a family.
Was it a couple weeks back?
Couple weeks, couple months. I can't remember. Time is fickle. There you go. They got the pictures on the right there.
Yeah, this was months ago. It was in
Yeah,
March.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, what happened to him? Was he sentenced? Charged with 6 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. Yeah, he killed a 2-month-old, a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old. Which I
mean, that's just horrific.
I can't even begin to fathom what mental state it takes to be able to do that. Yeah, I don't know. And with this case, what actually happened, from what I recall, the family that was hosting him, they knew him from the previous country where they came from, which I believe it's think it's Sri Lanka. Yeah, this is a family of newcomers from Sri Lanka, and they had some relatives back home who knew of this boy through another family, and they invited him so that he could start a life and come here as a student. Or it says who is believed to be in Canada as a student, and he just committed this crime, which, yeah, at the time when this happened too, I remember the immigration minister, he was actually asked whether or not, as part of the screening process, whether or not these students are actually assessed in regards to their background with crime, or well, just any crimes that they've committed, so they do a criminal check.
Mhm.
He initially said yes, but then had to backtrack the statement because the reality, the truth was no, they don't actually check these people before coming in the country. Which, I mean, look, if we're letting people in and we don't know the status of their criminal background,
Mhm.
that's a fucking problem. Like, if we can't assess what your level of criminality is potentially, right? If we have no proof of that, then you shouldn't be let into the country. Plain and simple.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that because my coworker recently just finished his paperwork for applying for citizenship, and about a month ago he had to go to the local embassy and get a criminal background check, like get the police reports from his country of origin sent to the immigration office here in Canada to be reviewed. And it's like, so he's been here for 12 years. And the fact that he's here alone on work visa doesn't tell you what his criminal background is?
Like, they didn't have it when he initially came in.
Like, he had to go to the embassy to contact his, like, the local government to send over the paperwork. So it was never looked at,
That's a
even back
problem.
then.
And I know that guy is like, he seems like a stand-up dude who, like, genuinely wants to work hard and live the Canadian dream, you know, in so many words. So he certainly seems like an asset to Canada rather than a detriment. But regardless, like, why are we letting people in without doing background checks? If it's not possible to do a background check, we don't know the status of your criminal history, then, like, that's such a huge risk. We're just hoping that, oh, well, he doesn't have any tattoos on his face, or he didn't come
Oh,
in with any weapons, or like you just look at extenuating circumstances like that.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, if they're just not stupid and they don't bring any of that kind of shit with them, then they can just blend in with the regular populace. Like, they can
It's
just
got
blend.
2 arms and 2 legs. It must not be a monster.
Yeah, like,
What?
so yeah, I don't understand it. And that also, like, it brings up the point that yet another example. They want to bring over citizens from Gaza.
Oh, Jesus.
Which, like, look, whatever your
Look,
outlook,
look, we've been bringing in people from other less war-torn, in retrospect, parts of the country. I don't know if this is a good idea. Let's just put it that way. But you were saying,
like, at the end of the day, like, whatever your thoughts on the war, who is justified and who is not, I have no say in it. I don't know what the hell is going on, so I have no opinion on it. The whole thing just looks ugly to an outsider. Everything, every part of it, all the protests that are happening every single week in Montreal and Toronto, all these different speakers that are getting shut down, all this hate that's driven towards, like, just regular everyday people living in their communities. We've had schools shut up in Toronto because of this. Like, drive-bys. Like, they'll do a drive-by Jewish school, and, like, they will actually find,
and
like,
bomb threats
and bomb threats and all. Like, I have no dog in the fight, but none of it looks good. And so now this initiative to bring all these people from that like conflict area. My issue is this: if the entirety of their infrastructure, or at least a good chunk of it, is gone, which includes their capabilities for record keeping, which includes just about everything, right? Their criminal history, their, I don't know, healthcare, what have you, right? Passports, all that. What happens when we import like these people that may or may not be able to, first of all, speak English, or two, have an employable skill, and then three, are now living in urban districts, because they're not going to be moving them out to fucking Edmonton. Okay, like if they do settle in Calgary, it's going to be
No,
rare.
they're not going to end up in buttfuck Alberta.
Yeah, they're not going to be out in the countryside. They're going to wind up in Victoria, Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, potentially even the Maritimes. But I don't know. They've been trying to do their damnedest to kick the Indians out.
Mhm.
And they're going to be having neighbors that are Jewish. So what happens when you take a diaspora of people that are neighbors to the nation that's fighting against them and bombing them to kingdom come, and now you force them to live amongst them? You know, that doesn't really look good. It really does not look good on paper, that idea. It really does not.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, because it kind of reminds me of this, like, 1 cup glass container I had that was like designed for like almost like a little terrarium, but it was designed for like catching ants and shit. And it had like a little checkerboard thing on the bottom that you could measure how long the bug was or whatever. And on the lid, it had a magnifying glass. And one day when I was a kid, I started just shoving a bunch of bugs in there. Just anything I could find, I started putting in there. You know, I had a fucking daddy long legs in there. I had a little jumping spider in there. I had a little fucking centipede I threw in there. I had a bunch of shit. Okay.
What are they eating?
Let me get to the part of the story. The next morning, I find the dandy long legs has now established dominance and has started eating everything inside the jar.
Oh my god.
And some things started eating other things as well that the daddy long legs hadn't gotten around to yet. So I created this tiny little ecosystem of just shit beginning to eat itself because it doesn't have enough fucking room, because it's just not spread out enough, because it's confined to this box. And that's what Canada is becoming. It's becoming this environment where, you know, we're bringing in all these people who, you know, have their cultural, religious strifes, historical strifes, however you want to put it. And we're bringing a lot of them in en masse who still hold these grudges, right? Who still believe in these modes of thought or ethos or however you want to put it.
Well, they're bringing over
And we're
their
putting them-
ethnic problems.
Yeah,
They are.
well, yeah, but then like you were saying, we're putting them right next to their what you would consider a quote unquote natural enemy, and we're just bringing them in from all over the world, spicing here, there, everywhere. It's like, okay, the I remember growing up, the you know, what was it, the garden salad versus the melting pot analogy.
For us, it was mosaic and melting pot. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Oh, okay. I was told it was like a garden salad or something, you know, like a fucking tossed salad, like throw anything in there, whatever, you toss it all together and ta-da, there you go. It's all one dish.
Yeah, I know tossed salads. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. Okay. All right. Well, salad versus
Mosaic.
it makes sense in that analogy because the melting pot makes it seem so evil, as in, oh, to be an American, you have to basically liquidate your previous sense of self and culture and all that, and become one to be a good white American citizen or whatever. And in Canada you can still be yourself, but in the analogy of the salad, we all still kind of come together as a salad, you know? Where here now we're just throwing whatever into the fucking bowl and hoping it becomes something. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. We're throwing all the bugs into the same fucking little box and hoping that they're not going to start fucking eating each other. And then we wonder why we see these rates in rise in anti-Semitism.
Yeah, and I think the point that you're getting at is that even with the mosaic, like there has to be something, a kind of uniting force that makes it so that everybody has at least a handful of commonly shared interests. Like everybody agrees on how to drive down the road. Everybody agrees on how to line up. Everybody agrees on the set of laws that we have and how we punish
Basic
people for
social
them.
decorum.
Yeah, like
you know,
all these different things. So you enter into a social contract. And like you said, like the problem is when you start importing a lot of people from these various nations that have all these conflicts within them and even externally, and they bring their problems here. And this isn't even like a talking point. Like look, I'll show you footage of, what was it? It wasn't a mosque. It was I think it was a Buddhist temple, or actually, hold on, Toronto Temple, Brampton. There was a famous incident, like not even a month ago, where Hindu temple, where they had to get police involved because all these people came to just I don't know what they're protesting. Some kind of religious issue that they have with them, or maybe it's cultural, I don't know, but they're not there because like, oh, the temple is like actively suppressing people, or they're harming children. Like no like actual like crime or anything like that the police would actually get involved. Like they're not like protesting it because of the way that the temple treats people or something. They're there because they disagree with the messaging of the people inside, or what the temple stands for, because of a cultural issue that they have back home. Here in Canada, we believe that everyone should be free within reason to practice their religion. Okay? That for the most part. Like in Quebec it gets a little bit more dicey because they obviously they have different laws around secularism and all that. But for the rest of Canada, for the most part, like you'll find mosques out in Halifax. Or what's the Jewish one? I forget the name. Synagogues. You'll find synagogues in Edmonton. You will, because they're all over the place. Everybody is free to practice their religion here in Canada, and there's no suppressing force behind it. Right. No. So the fact that these people are protesting, it means that they're taking out like whatever cultural strife they have on each other. And this has no place in Canada. This is not Canadian behavior. Like, you wouldn't see a bunch of, I don't know, atheists crowding around a church of Christianity.
But that I would argue that is more of a Canadian issue than this is. I don't even know what this is about.
Yeah, this is a temple in Brampton.
Yeah,
it was apparently related.
But like you're saying, it's not about the temple. It's about
an issue overseas.
Yeah. Sorry, I ended up trying to read the caption there for a second.
No,
but yeah,
that's fine.
It has absolutely nothing to do with Canada. Doesn't belong in Canada. Canada doesn't deserve to suffer for whatever you're fucking bickering about.
And this isn't the first time that it's happened. There have been cases where, let me see. There have been cases where like they'll just fight it out in parking lots with like giant stick. Like here, let me see. Canada.
Well, and more I'm hearing about machete wielding psychopaths in the streets. I'm not saying that's necessarily related to whatever religious or cultural conflict that is specifically, but
yeah, like look at this. I'm pretty sure this was in Brampton. Yeah. Yeah,
like it's actual gang warfare out here.
Like what are they doing? They just have sticks and they're throwing stones at each other. Like I don't And I don't even think this is related to
Man.
India. I think this is related to completely like something else. Yeah,
Yeah.
403 area code. That's what is that? That's Calgary.
That's Alberta.
That's in fucking Calgary, man. This is out west. Like, what is going on? Why are we importing this bullshit? This has no place in Canada. Absolutely none. There's no reason for it whatsoever. And this has been happening for a very, very long time. We're just waking up to the fact that that the Khalistani movement has a massive presence, especially out west, which is a growing issue. But anyways, just this is all to illustrate these systems that are being run by the political and cultural elite, politicians, the corporate journalists, so on and so forth. These narratives that they're running, they are so counterintuitive and so just opposed to an idea of Canada that stands for prosperity and recognizing cultures and being a nation that has a strong reputation to help around the world. It completely takes another direction with that. It goes against it in its face entirely. Like all these different systems in place, that they're all just failing. Like, why is it that 2 years ago the immigration minister and the government, Trudeau's parliament, was informed of all these like different issues surrounding immigration, and they did nothing about it? They were warned 2 years ago that it was getting to a point where people are starting having difficulties to afford to live, to have basic necessities, and they didn't do anything about it. And I'll find the article.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. But that's the thing, is like you were saying, it's like it's one thing to say that these policies aren't working, but it's another thing for them to be just absolutely fucking destructive. Like, they're tearing this country apart. Like, this is not the same Canada as was known fucking 10 years ago.
Not at all.
Well, I mean, Trudeau's been there for 9, so let's say 9 years.
No, it really isn't. Because look, even if you ignore all these things that we've outlined here, regarding immigration and all these different fights. Oh, okay, fine. Here's a personal example. When I went to high school, I had a classmate who was here on the student visa from South Korea in grade 9. And he was a bit of a troublemaker, got caught with a stolen laptop that he was selling near the school, actually. Like a fucking idiot. And he also, for the deal, he went, he had an ounce of weed on him, I think. So the cop that was the undercover took the laptop, obviously, found the weed, and they were like, okay, well, now this, because this is before legalization, now this is like, you commit a crime on top of a crime. So
yeah.
they deported his ass immediately, and he was within, I think, a week out of the country, a week or two, and started sending pictures from the DMZ, like the demilitarized zone between South Korea and North Korea. He was living like right on the border of it, and he could actually see it from his window. And that was the last we heard of him. And I don't think he's going to be allowed to come back for the longest time, if ever. Right? So a teenager got caught with a laptop and an ounce of weed, and he gets deported instantly. Not even... So this would have been 10 years ago. Yeah, this would have been before Trudeau came into power, obviously. And now a guy gets charged with being an accessory to essentially murder, not premeditated, but a murder of an infant and 2 adults for liquor whose value was $1,600. And nothing happens. Like
Yeah.
that is you're just spitting in the face of every hardworking person, and you're telling them that yeah, these people can just about do anything and get away with it. I mean, that is beyond me. I the more I think about it, the more crazy I think I am, because like this shit would, if that was my family, bro.
Yeah, and in
I
there,
don't know what I would do.
yeah, and in there, it lies the problem, right? That's exactly the point I was going to get to, is the issue of Canadians no longer feel safe like they used to.
If
You
we
know?
take Pierre Poilievre's word for it, sorry to interrupt, but just a quick story.
Mhm,
He
mhm.
recently had a speech in Parliament, which, look, I don't know the validity of this claim. Apparently, he spoke to a woman that was working at a diner, and she basically told him like, you need to win. And he's like, oh, like thanks, like I appreciate support. She's like, no, like you need to win, because apparently she worked one full-time job and 2 part-time, and I think she also had a car. I don't know if she had kids or not, but regardless, she was just struggling to make ends meet. And then one day she wakes up, her car is gone, insurance didn't cover it, so the car got stolen, and this was only days after she had quit one of the part-time jobs, because she finally was able to get her head above water and just for a moment be like, okay, I can finally afford to leave that job. I've made my payments on time, great. And then her car fucking gets stolen, and now she's back to square one, and they can't find the car. And my heart just breaks for this woman if this story is actually true, because Jesus fucking Christ, like an honest to God, just a Canadian citizen at the end of the day doesn't even feel safe in her own nation, which is fucking crazy. And she's pushed that far back in her life and where she actually ought to be, if it wasn't for the decisions of people that she would never meet.
Yeah.
Like that this is a common thread throughout a lot of people's stories right now in Canada. There was another case where a man in Montreal, I know this one. A man in Montreal went to the hospital. He was 39 years old. He died from an aneurysm because he gave up on the 6-hour wait of the clinic. He came into the ER and said, "Oh, my skin's gone white. I feel very clammy. My heart's pounding. I just need someone to check me out." And he waited for 6 hours. Nobody came. Okay, I'm sure he was triaged, but no actual doctor came for him. He went home and he died the next day.
Yeah.
What
That's a tragedy.
the fuck, dude?
It's an unnecessary tragedy. Absolutely.
No reason for it. No reason for it whatsoever. My God. And he posted on X too. Like he posted about it.
Yeah, he posted that picture there.
Yeah. Then he had a big scare, and then next thing you know, he was fucking dead. I don't know what to make of it, man. It's just
and then this is the misunderstanding, right? This is where the news comes on and says, "Oh, I don't understand where's all this anger coming from? Oh, this hate and so on." Like they keep using the word hate, and it's like it's not hate, and it's not some kind of xenophobia. It's that real shit is going on. We're seeing a large increase in these, crimes, and to some degree, especially violent crimes.
Theft, break-ins. There was a break-in just up my street. Like literally not even a 10-minute drive for me. Not that far. Like in roughly the same region where my family lives. And like thankfully my mom, she lives in an apartment, not a house, so we're not nearly as worried about break-ins. But like, who the fuck
Mhm.
knows? Who the fuck knows? Like, this is just happening left and right. It was to the point where cops told, what was it? I think it was Peel Police Fob. I feel like I'll find it if I do this.
No, I think the Peel police incident was something else. I can't remember what the Peel police did.
Because they made an announcement saying that people need to keep their fobs by their car door, or sorry, their front doors,
Mm-hmm.
so that robbers don't have, or criminals don't have an excuse to go into the house and start like demanding certain things of the people, or like just engaging with them to make it easier for them to steal. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, such a high rise in the level of auto thefts.
Here it is.
That was Toronto police. Jesus.
Which the auto theft thing is because when Trudeau came into power, they removed a lot of mandatory minimum sentencing for certain crimes. One of this was auto theft, and so auto theft is like
Come to
exponentially.
Canada. We're the real life GTA.
Yeah, you can escape the 5 stars, but yeah, this
GTA means more than one thing when you come up to Toronto.
Apparently. And this notice here was, it was made by Toronto Police. It says here, a Toronto police officer suggested that residents leave their car keys by the front door to avoid a home invasion, seemingly to let criminals steal their vehicle if they break in, leave, and avoid injuries. Which I'm sure that there's a lot of police officers out there in Canada, like they have their hands tied. Their whole job is to execute on the law, and if the laws say that these people can be punished and those can't, or this is how the process works, they're going to go by it. They have no jurisdiction. They have no ability besides advocacy or having these groups, right? What I'm
Well, not
trying to
only
be
that, they're going to be held accountable, right? If they do
Yeah.
anything against this.
I'm
Because that's the thing, is now they're putting their name on their actions every time they step outside.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to be charitable to the officers here, because look, I'm sure if it was up to them, they would be like, yeah, we need to fucking, like, do you think we enjoy expending our resources to this bullshit? Like, if
Do you think we like showing up to a car accident where there's a dead baby and grandparents?
Yeah, I don't think that's a particularly nice exercise that the cops enjoy doing day to day. So I would err on the side of these people would really appreciate it if more things were done to ensure that in incidents like this can't happen, because it would mean less headaches for them, and also obviously naturally less fucking crime and bullshit that happens. But there was a notice that was sent out, so you have these individual stories of people getting hurt by the system or being ignored by it from all angles, whether it's the media and the CBC, how they laid off like a couple hundred people and still issued executive bonuses, even though they were like just making the claim that they need to increase their budget. Like, their budget is at like 1.6 billion right now, I think, and they're trying to raise it by another like 500 million. So like a third or like a half of their budget, essentially. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Executive bonuses during layoffs? What?
Hell yeah, that makes sense.
Like, or all the consulting firm costs, or the fact that Trudeau spent like $70,000 on food on his latest like Euro trip getaway. 70K on groceries. Like, what the fuck are you on? What?
Man,
you can't like
lobster for every meal.
You can't be like Trump. You can't just like go out to McDonald's. Like, what the fuck, dude?
You can't be a normal person.
Just eat at
People don't spend
Denny's.
$70K on food in a year, you motherfucker.
Yeah, how the fuck do you rack that up? And look, it wasn't just him; it was all of his staff. But nonetheless, it's like, okay, well, how many people are you feeding? It's still 70K.
Jesus, still.
Yeah. So look. This is all to say. A lot of these systems, not all of them, but a lot of them are progressively just failing and failing and failing and failing, and people are tired of feeling left behind, which is exactly why they're electing people like Trump. This is exactly why people want to elect Pierre Poilievre. This is exactly why people are electing Javier Milei. This is exactly why people are electing what was his other name? Bukele in not Venezuela, but oh my God, what? Which country? I always forget which one it is. 'Cause it's not Argentina.
Ecuador, is it?
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Yeah. That's why all these elections are going that way, because people are just sick and tired of it. They're like, yeah, we're not gonna fucking go along with the status quo anymore. You guys, you had your chance. You failed us. So we're gonna elect outsiders. We're gonna elect people that are outside of the system that want to come in and tear portions of it apart, completely just uproot it, because the status quo is not serving the people. It is in fact failing the people. And say what you want about their economic policies or how these, like the character of these people. Look, you guys had your chance. The status quo had its chance. And you, like, nobody asked them to kill their reputation. We would have been just fine, just like paying our taxes here in Canada, even as high as they are, as long as the systems actually worked. As long as people that commit crimes were not persecuted, but prosecuted for them. As long as the immigration system was fair and honest about who it let in and why. As long as government officials aren't spending millions on just the most retarded, outlandish shit. Like the governor general spent like $1 million just on getting the drafts for building a staircase in her office because she wanted to avoid people.
Private stairwell.
She wanted to build this is real. This is a real story for everyone that doesn't remember. Canada. Let me just pull this up. Canada Governor General $1 million staircase. Sorry, my mistake. It wasn't $1 million. It was a measly $250,000. Sorry,
whatever.
My sincerest apologies. $250K. For fucking what? Because she wanted privacy? What is her office made of like two-way or one-way glass? Like people can see her shit and piss?
Is her self-esteem that fragile? It'll crack if somebody looks at her? Like, what the fuck?
Here's the weird thing. Julie Payette is an astronaut. She used to be an astronaut.
Well,
in
that way, her head's definitely in the clouds.
An actual honest-to-God astronaut. Here's a photo of her in the ISS.
Yeah.
So I would think that this person understands what it's like to live in close quarters with other people and how to get used to them, and wouldn't be an antisocial dick.
Now she has PTSD or something.
I don't know.
Claustrophobia.
I genuinely don't know. But she spent $250K at least. And for what? For what? And like, this was in 2020, okay? It's 2024. We've had plenty of spending scandals since then. These famously spent $60 million on a ArriveCan. Okay? And even if we ignore Canada, in America, they there's like, I think 3-point-something billion of those PPP loans for like during COVID that are unaccounted for.
Isn't that just missing? Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, they're just like, they're unaccounted for. They don't know what happened to them. Like, it got taken advantage of, essentially.
She's just like, whoopsie daisy.
And the taxpayers paid for it. Or even, okay, fine, let's go back to 2008. How about the bailouts? How about the bailouts of the banks that were put on the backs of the American people, who are still feeling the effects of it to this very day? Okay, and even outside of America, look, we can extrapolate this as big as we want. But at the end of the day, these systems are failing their people, and that's why they're turning to alternatives. That's why Joe Rogan has the most popular show in all of the world. Okay, a UFC commentator, comedian who used to host Fear Factor has more people paying attention to him than, I would argue, just about every single journalistic outlet in the world combined. Okay, like that should tell you everything you need to know about where the culture is shifting. That should absolutely tell you everything you need to know. Because if he's able to interview Trump, okay, I'm sorry, if a comedian gets to interview the ex-president, you want to tell me that
President-elect.
yeah, the president-elect, that you want to tell me that that's not an indicator that things are kind of shifting, and the ways of the old world are no longer sustainable, like they're not feasible anymore. We're well past that point. Okay,
No,
we're
absolutely.
well past that.
And that I feel like that comes with as a natural progression with the evolution of tech, and with that more accountability and transparency in certain areas. And I feel that's where, when we're talking about news outlets, as an example specifically, them failing, it's like, it's not necessarily that they've gone ahead and changed anything. They have probably been feeding us these bullshit bias stories for a long ass time.
Forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, sorry, just as a quick aside, I literally saw archival footage of like a 1960s or 70s newscast talking about how Reuters has direct ties to the CIA and through their misinformation program. And there's a journalist on record that was talking from the Toronto Star. He was like, oh yeah, I remember reporting on this story about this conflict in Africa, and only months later did I come to the realization that it was actually, like, what I reported on was fake misinformation that was propagated by the CIA. Like, this shit never stopped. It's still happening.
Yeah. And now with that new mode of transparency, with the evolution of technology, now we're seeing, obviously an individual like Joe Rogan is going to end up taking the hot seat, right? He's going to end up being one of the most popular individuals streaming or any other media platform in the world right now.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day,
that's just the evolution of it.
Yeah,
it was bound to happen.
Yeah, because Joe Rogan, at least at the end of the day, he seems, at least, as an honest enough person to admit when he's wrong on something. That's the impression that I get from listening to him all these years. And not even that, but like, people can go on Twitter, and whatever he posts or whatever episode or clips that he has, people can community note it, and they can post up information. And even if Joe Rogan keeps saying, no, all those people they're lying, that's bullshit, that's not true.
I'm a dragon believer.
Yeah. Joe Rogan, the dragon believer. Even if he keeps like lying and obfuscating about it, like, people are still going to have the chance to clap back. People with like a couple hundred followers can just simply post a link to something and be like, no, you're actually wrong, and you need to correct this record because what you're saying is fundamentally incorrect. Just an anonymous person with like a shitty anime profile pic on Twitter can just do that and clown on someone who has the eyeballs of the world on him. Okay, like that. You can't compare Fox News or New York Times or CBC to that. There is no comparison to be made.
No, absolutely not. And you're absolutely right with the community notes and being able to freaking fact check that immediately see that and be able to take, have an opinion formed on it, saying, okay, do I take this seriously or do I throw this in the trash and continue to scroll?
Yeah.
Rather than wondering, oh, what's the other side of this story? Blah, 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 blah. What were the circumstances behind what happened? And so on. Why am I not getting these details? Why haven't the police reported this? It's like, oh my God. It's an absolute disaster if you're watching evening news. Because, and we've talked about this before, they're not going to come out tomorrow and say that they made a mistake yesterday. They're not going to come out in a week's time and say they made a mistake yesterday. They're never going to admit they ever made that mistake. They're just going to continue to plug away every night as if every day's a new day and everybody was born first thing that morning and yesterday didn't happen.
Absolutely. And on all these different, I don't know, system seems like such a fucking such an,
But that's
like,
what
not
it is,
outdated.
right?
Not an outdated, but it seems like such a, I don't know, I hate like overusing that word, but there's nothing else I can call them. For all these systems, they're constantly failing to people that are on the outside. Somebody that starts a podcast in their basement or is independently reporting on a story, or I don't know, just has some kind of an edge to them that the current system isn't able to provide. And then they end up taking pole position ahead of everyone else. I mean, it's a fucking miracle that Elon Musk's company is the first car company in the history of the United States to not go bankrupt or default. Like, that's incredible. That, like, just on its own, like, he is the first like among the entire history in the United States to have that. And this man is juggling the Boring Company, Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, Twitter. Like, every single case, he's come in from the outside and he's been able to just absolutely dominate regardless of the space. Like, regardless. Starlink, fucking Starlink is outbidding all these giant telecom companies that have existed for decades. And then here Elon Musk comes and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to send satellites into space and provide internet to rural areas. And now anyone can have like 5G speeds out in the boonies for fucking cheap compared to what it actually costs with the telecom companies that have been here for the longest time. You yourself would know.
Yeah. But I think that's where, we come back to saying, oh, the old systems are failing, is because it's not that they're failing, it's that we've come to the realization that they are an actual detriment for human progress.
Legitimately.
Like Elon Musk saying, hey, I'm just going to take this company and I'm going to start launching satellites so that everybody can have internet. Should have been done clearly a long time ago. For now, some, millionaire tycoon to step up and just be like, no, I'm going to do this now because this makes sense. His whole track of, going back to SpaceX and saying, oh, what happens if I take a bunch of young kids, throw a bunch of money at them and see what they come up with? And now we have the friggin' self-landing boosters and all this friggin' tech that came out of that, and all the resources we're going to be saving with that technology now, and friggin' commercial trips up into space and whatever the fuck else. It's like, okay, it all started with that one thought process. What happens if I break the mold? Because the mold is what? Oh, we're talking about space. Okay, we're talking about physicists. You're talking about engineers and people with their doctorates and so on and so forth. You're talking about people who are prevalent in their fields, who have written reports and articles and so on. You're talking about old heads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Elon Musk came around and said, no. That 22-year-old right there, I like what he's doodling in his notebook. Here's a fuck ton of money. Build me something. And they broke that mold. That's what's been happening. Look at what happened with Twitter. It's like, oh, Twitter's going to be run by a team of individuals who do this and do that, and I guess end up doing a bunch of fucking shady shit. Oh yeah, we're going to work with government organizations and blah, 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 as I'm sure they all do to some extent, right? And Elon Musk pops up in here and he goes, but I think people should be able to say whatever they want to say.
Yeah, and
I don't think we should be policing this. This is bullshit.
And that it's of the utmost importance, because if we don't have an outlet that maybe not reaches the ideal of free speech to its best ability, but it tries its fucking damnedest to do so.
Yeah, at least attempts to.
That's vital. That's not just like this is something that we take for granted in the West, which I mean that's also a good thing, because that means that we haven't had the opportunity to experience what government oppression like truly looks like when you're under their thumb, like in a dictatorship or otherwise. But this is of the utmost importance. It's like we cannot have a prosperous society if we don't have this. Because look, at the end of the day, we've made this argument on the show plenty, but it's absolutely necessary to have this, to make sure that we can see the racists and the xenophobic people and like all these people out in the sunlight. Because the moment that we start telling them, well, first of all, the moment that we start telling them what they can and can't say, right, is the moment that they're like, okay, well, that means I can't say it on this platform. So I'm going to go over here, away from the general public, on 4chan and Stormfront, or not Stormfront, but I forget the name of that neo-Nazi forum, but it was fairly famous. Right, they're just going to find their avenues. They're like, that's exactly what happened with Parler, and I think Truth Social to an extent as well. Because at the time of old Twitter, all those people were like, oh, okay, fine. So not only are you not going to let us be here on this platform, but you're going to pretend like there's no bias when it comes to your decision making. Fine, I'm going to go over to this platform and complain about you. And
making people even more bitter, right?
Exactly. And it loops on itself. And look, if for those of you listening, if you don't believe me, go on Blue Sky right now. Okay, sign up for get a fake email. There's websites that can help you generate one of those, that are free if you just Google them or type in Perplexity. Sign up for a free trial and see what it's all about. Because from what I've seen, it's all just holy shit. So glad that we're not near all these neo-Nazis and all this extremist language, especially around the shooter of the healthcare CEO. And it's all this stuff because, well, yeah, like these people, they weren't forced off of Twitter. They decided to leave. But the moment that they do, and they're not saying their ridiculous shit out in the open, they're just doing it amongst each other, it just keeps escalating. And they're just going to keep on escalating and escalating and escalating. It's like, no, you guys should stay on Twitter. Like Elon Musk famously, he was like, I disagree with
Can't
Don
let them
Lemon.
run off and fester on their own, right?
Yeah, and when it came to Don Lemon, like when he came on the platform, Musk gladly, like he sat down with him for the interview, had that conversation, naturally got defensive because Don Lemon tried to bring the CNN attitude to Twitter, which you don't, like, you just can't do that, because it doesn't work, because people catch on to it really quick, like Elon Musk did in the interview, of just asking these, like, oh, I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. I'm not indicating anything. I'm just asking questions. Right, when in reality,
the people want to know.
Well, he was like talking about like, oh, or like, are you using any substances right now? And because Elon Musk is like, he's legitimately an autist, and he doesn't see a reason to hide it. Like he talks about these things openly, so he just openly answers the question. But like Don Lemon
One of the
is
most
trying to
famous videos on the internet is him smoking that blunt on the Joe Rogan
Yeah.
experience. Like
exactly. Right, but the reason that Don Lemon is asking that question is because, oh, okay, you're trying to get like a dig at him. You're trying to make him seem incompetent. And for a CEO that's like sitting on boards of companies that have to do with national defense and all, like that's very dangerous because now like somebody on the board could be like, oh, Elon Musk admits using ketamine. He's not stable. We should vote against him or whatever. Like the point is that the implication of Don Lemon's questioning was going in the wrong direction. But even then, even after having done the interview, Elon Musk said no, like he should keep his show. Stay here. This is going to be the future. This is going to be the future platform where everybody's invited and you can speak to who you want to speak to and block who you want to block. And we don't police speech within reason, obviously, for like exemptions for child porn or advocating for violence or, you know, so on and so forth. And it's no wonder that this platform is like the best place to be on right now. Like everyone's posting on Twitter. Everybody. Every news source like we were talking about earlier, Global News, CTV, every single one of them, they can't post on Instagram and Facebook. Where are they going to go? YouTube? YouTube's out of social media.
Nobody's paying attention to the news on YouTube. You don't go to YouTube for fucking news, okay?
Dude, the fucking...
You go to YouTube to get away from the news.
Let me look up CBC's latest videos. 1.9K views of their latest video. They have...
Nobody watches.
They have 4 million subscribers, but clearly nobody watches. 5K, 20K, 12K, 20K. Look, these are numbers, but they're not national media numbers. I'm pretty sure PBS does better numbers than them. Well, they also... And PBS is the American version of CBC, basically, but they have, like... They have 10 times their population, so it's not really a fair comparison. But regardless, like... Nobody watches this shit.
No.
This
is not their bread and butter. This is not where you go.
I have not seen a single video as I'm scrolling through their page here hit 1 million views. The closest one was, I think, 500K. This one here.
And that was the Chrystia Freeland resignation.
No. This is Russia's war economy on the brink of collapse.
Oh no, if you go... There was one that had like 559,000 or something. Keep going down.
This is 129.
No.
Yeah, I don't see it.
595K.
Yeah. Yep. Right, so nothing has cracked a mill.
No.
So it's all to say, like, these systems are dying. People are finding alternatives, and that's why they're voting for Trump. That's why Joe Rogan has the most popular show. That's why people are turning away from regular public health advice that they've been following for decades. Like now a bunch of counties in America are considering removing the fluoride in the water. Trump is talking about removing daylight savings time. Robert F. Kennedy is talking about removing all these different food colorings in all these products that are made in the U.S. Where like if you go to Canada, like even though we have the same brand and literally the same product, they don't use the exact same chemicals because we just have different standards regarding that. Right? Like people they're turning away from that. They've had enough. Because all these people just shit the bed so fucking hard. Because of a myriad of reasons. Selfish motivations or financial gain, what have you. But they have abdicated their responsibility. And they're panicking. They are panicking.
So hard.
You can see it on full display. Why do you think they're reaching for the
You can see it in
xenophobia?
Trudeau's crazy eyes.
Yeah. Why do you think that they're like every single chance they get, someone's saying something about xenophobia or racism? Like they're trying to go for like the most strong, like emotionally convicting adjective to label somebody or some story to make it
and completely discredit, right?
Their own themselves, yeah. Yeah.
Like if somebody came on the news and said, "Oh, the number A is blue," and somebody came on after him and went, "Yo, this guy's like an actual Nazi. Like he's a legit Nazi. Like here's the proof." Everybody goes, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm not listening to that guy anymore."
Yeah.
right? And that's what they're trying to do. They're just trying to slander. They're trying to slander you into non-existence and irrelevance so that their point sticks. And it's just
Absolutely.
petty. And that's what we've been talking about. It's that lack of truth, you know? The
Yeah,
sense of the
blatant lies.
genuine. There's nothing there. It's the reason Joe Rogan is so fucking popular. It's because you can just, we humans can tell of the vast majority of the time when we're being real with one another, or when you're standing there acting like a phony ass talking out of your fucking, you know.
Well, you got to be real good to last a 3-hour conversation with Joe Rogan and lie to his face the entire time. You got to be real good to do that for 3 hours with anyone.
Because he's gonna poke, yeah, because they're gonna poke holes. Because just train of logic.
Yeah, you're sitting down with someone. You're there. Like you're there and you're present in the moment, and at any moment Joe Rogan's gonna be like, I don't know about that. Jamie,
Wait,
pull
hold
that
on
up.
a second.
Yeah. And people want more of that. And that's good. This is a good thing. These systems, they have to die. They have outlived their purpose. And these things are not with the problems that we're going to be facing in the next 5-10 years, and I mean that as individuals, as community members, as citizens within an entire nation, right, on all these layers, the problems that we are going to be facing through every single one of those vectors are much too big and far too important to be left to these systems. We haven't even addressed, very few people, at least in government, are talking about the birth rate crisis that's being experienced all over the world right now, which has been an argument, funnily enough, in their immigration stances and how they're Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of Britain, literally came out and said, yeah, this whole migration thing has been set up, and they use falling birth rates as an excuse to cover that up. They say that's the reason for it, when in reality they actually don't want anything like the Prime Minister came out and said that. Let me see if I can find the clip. Keir Starmer, immigration. I think I spelled his name right.
Because again, you didn't have to tell us that. The vast majority of us kind of put the puzzle pieces together already. You're just now putting it out in an official capacity. And thank you for that.
Yeah, here it is.
I mean, genuinely, but we know. We're not the stupid lemmings, all right? We once were, okay? We're not the dumb serfs anymore.
How?
We read, all right? We read these days.
We can read. Let's just listen to this clip for a little bit.
The Independent Office of National Statistics has conducted vital work on the state of immigration and found the previous government were running an open borders experiment. As the ONS sets out, nearly 1 million people came to Britain in the year ending June 2023. That is 4 times the migration levels compared with 2019. Time and again, the Conservative Party promised they would get the numbers down. Time and again, they failed. And now the chorus of excuses has begun. We heard that from the Leader of the Opposition yesterday. But what we didn't hear, what the British people are owed, is an explanation. Because a failure on this scale isn't just bad luck. It isn't a global trend or taking your eye off the ball. No, this is a different order of failure. This happened by design, not accident. Policies were reformed deliberately to liberalise immigration. Brexit was used for that purpose, to turn Britain into a one-nation experiment in open borders. Global Britain. Remember that slogan? That is what they meant. A policy with no support and which they then pretended wasn't happening.
right? So I mean, like that right there. That is a
Mhm.
direct admission from a sitting member of government in, I mean, the nation that birthed democracy, essentially, and jump-started Canada, right? A nation that has great historic significance in the landscape of humanity, and it's gotten to the point,
Undoubtedly.
yeah, and it's gotten to the point where the prime minister has to come out and make a notice like that, just so that people can get an ounce of the truth.
By the way, you were all right.
And mind you, like he hasn't been doing too great either. Like he's done a series of interviews where like they're talking about how what's it called, that the tax that they put on natural gas was actually affecting the ability of senior citizens to pay for their bills during the winter, and they're also experiencing a cost of living crisis as a result of their en masse migration. So like they're dealing with the same problems as us, and the winters in the UK are, I mean, they're essentially on the same, what is it, longitude, latitude? Is it latitude? The one that goes crisscross?
I can't remember which one's which, to be honest with you.
Is it latitude? I want to make sure.
I think
this
it's
is right.
latitude.
I want to say longitude.
Are we betting now?
We're betting. No, not seafood.
I
North
bet
south is latitude. So
one
longitude.
Christopher Freeland resignation letter.
So longitude. That's what it is. Right. So they're across. They're essentially across the pond, right? As they say. And only now is the prime minister coming out and saying this. Yeah, longitude. And that's big. Like that's like that is exactly why Donald Trump is letting Elon Musk and Vivek run their Doge program. It's for the exact same reason, because like a lot of this needs to go. A lot of this needs to be trimmed and cut back and minimized, or just completely destroyed and thrown to the wind. The guy that's headed to be the I think it's the head of FBI. He has openly stated that like day one when we get in, we're turning the headquarters into a museum of for the FBI, and we're shutting it down. Like they're looking to just completely restructure all these organizations. Bobby Kennedy's in charge of like the health and safety. I don't know what the actual word for it is, but like essentially like the health and safety government organization that oversees everything. That oversees the CDC and FDA and all these different things that have to do with health and safety in America. So yeah, like that's why these things are popular. All these different initiatives. Because people are sick and tired of it. They're like, fuck this, man. I'm not going to be sitting here and taking this shit no more. I'm voting this guy in instead. Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
For abandoning us, for absolutely ignoring us all these years. And then when we called you out on it, you called us racist, sexist bigots. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how I feel too. Fuck you. You guys had your chance. You had your chance. You took advantage of our trust. Fuck you.
Well, not only that, you had your chance, like, to adapt as well. Like I was saying, there was this natural progression with the evolution of technology that you should have realized you can't get away with this shit anymore. You can't. And you had the opportunity to step up, like what Trump and, you know, more or less what Polyev is doing, and coming out and just being like, 1 + 1 is 2. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. And that's all they have to fucking say.
That's all he is saying. And
That's
Trudeau's even clowning him for it. He's trying to. I've heard him say it in questioning period. He's like, "Oh, well, it's real easy to sit back and point out all the things wrong in the nation." It's like, yeah, because you make it easy for him. You're the one that's you're causing the mistakes. What do you mean? What? So he's not doing his job properly as the opposition?
Why you bully me, Mr. Polyev?
No, but like I just like, what kind of logic is that? It's like, oh, he keeps pointing out our fuck ups, and you know anyone can do that. It's real easy. It's like, Yeah, that's because you make it easy for him. So stop fucking up. Stop fucking
Yeah.
up. Like it's not hard. It really isn't.
Get your shit together.
And look, in regards to what you said about like adapting, here's an example of a story that came out where the government spent $1.7 million to develop podcasts that are getting barely any listens. Barely any listens. Where is the let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find the YouTube clip. Because you got to see these views, man. It's barely averaging thousands. Barely.
And are these new or?
Yeah, these are like new podcasts that have been launched in the last couple of years.
Okay.
Well,
because I feel like by that point, again, it was too fucking late. You needed to find somebody like a Joe Rogan, somebody who's going to be honest, upfront,
oh my god,
brutal, funny, relatable. You know,
bro, it's got
Uncaring.
312 views. 312.
Jesus Christ,
Dude, I almost got that with this live stream, and I just started like not even a month ago.
wow.
Like on one of the streams, I think we had like 259 total viewers. 136. Oh my fucking god, look at this. Where's that podcast? They gotta have a playlist for it. They just saved a bunch. Friday night kitchen party. What the? Somebody's personal. They're treating it as their personal account. Oh my god. Let me see.
Well,
if I
yeah,
can-
mine as well with 312 views.
At that point, yeah. Where is it? They only had one episode? No
Oof.
way! Yeah, so why did they post this clip a month ago, but there's no... But where can you find it? Because it's supposed to be hosted on here. Right? And we have one episode. That is so strange. 312 views. Fucking embarrassing. And they spent 1.7 million. So yeah, look, to your point, they had a chance to adapt. Okay, they did. They had a chance to adapt and they fucked it up. And now they need to be done away with. The CBC needs to be gutted. The government needs to cut its expenditures by half, if not more. This shit needs to stop. Like, why should I have to worry about... Like, I don't have a car, but why should anyone that has a car have to worry about getting carjacked? On the fucking highway. It's been happening on the highway.
Oh, broad daylight.
Yeah.
Right in your driveway. They don't care.
I don't give a shit.
They don't give a damn, dude. My family lives out in the fucking boonies, man. And one night my neighbor's door got kicked in. And it was the middle of the fucking night. And she didn't have a porch light or any fucking running lights at all, you know. So middle of the night, out in the boonies, no street lights, dark as hell. I understand somebody trying to kick in her door. I don't understand guys showing up with fucking rifles in people's driveways in broad daylight saying, stay inside, it's not worth your life. What?
What are you talking about, rifles? And I never heard of something like that. I know,
Oh,
like they would bring like
That's
pistols.
in the States.
Oh, in the States, you mean? Oh, yeah.
In the States, I've seen videos of guys rolling up with friggin' ARs. Masks on, being like, stay inside. The car's not worth your life, as they're fucking hijacking it.
Yeah, so all these different systems are on their way out. The people have spoken. The views speak for themselves. And like I was saying earlier regarding the problems that we're going to face. Like, okay, so the birth rate is just one example of it. What about automation? What happens when a lot of these jobs are just done away with because companies find it cheaper to just
More
hire
cost
robots
effective.
or just more cost effective. Amazon has already shown its robot. Where's the demonstration video that I can find? It's already shown a robot that can move boxes from one area to another. They already have robots that they use. They use like these little cart things that like drive around.
Yeah.
But here's the.
Well, they've already demonstrated that most of the jobs that they do have or they do require a human interaction with could be replaced by, you know, a properly programmed CNC machine.
Yeah, and
Stacking, sorting, analyzing product, putting in the proper shelving unit. You've just eliminated an entire job series right there.
Yeah, and here's a video of these two robots with the backwards knees. For some reason, I guess
The
that's
backwards
some more
knee.
ergonomic. They love the backwards knees thing on robots. I don't know what it is. Something about the
Apparently, it's
movement, I guess.
easier. It's easier to make them stand and walk and shit.
Yeah.
Apparently, human beings' knees are supposed to be backwards. I don't know.
Strange. But in any case, so it's these robots, two of them. They're just walking in the station. There's all these yellow bins out. For those that are listening, with QR codes of the yellow bins on the shelf so that the robot can read them. And they're just moving one box to another level on this conveyor. It's slow, and they're taking their time, obviously. They can't work as fast as people can, for now anyways. But they're doing it. They're moving it. So what happens when all these people get done away with? And what happens if it's not just Amazon? Or what happens to truckers when the self-driving cars start getting involved in this? Because I saw a video of a Waymo the other day that actually swerved out of the way of somebody that fell on the scooter. Let me see if I can find it. It was fucking crazy, dude. The thing's on autopilot. There's no driver. I think this happened in San Francisco.
I think I saw it. I saw that video.
Yeah, right here.
Of the reaction time.
Yeah, the lady falls and immediately
that's a
the
new one.
car moves. Look at that. And she was so close. So close to hitting it. There was another incident where Tesla swerved away from a pedestrian and it ended up hitting another car, but at least it didn't injure anyone. Oh, this wasn't automatic. Oh, I got community noted. See, community notes are great! Because I was about to fucking play a clip and swear on my life that this is real and thank God for automation. And thankfully, community notes is here to prove me wrong. How great is that?
Community notes.
Yeah, I'll take the L, gladly. That's good to know. So clearly autonomous driving is still not, at least we haven't seen an example of it being that good, but, you know, that's cool. That's awesome. That's awesome.
But it's getting there.
I got community noted in real time. That's great. I'm all for it. I would love if there's a
absolutely.
Note, if there's a community note that I could have that like puts up on my podcast every single time I put up an episode and it like investigates the claims. Like, yes, I want to be informed. I'd like to know the truth as close to as possible. Absolutely. Why not? What person wouldn't want that?
It's better than going around spouting nonsense like an idiot.
Yeah, half
like
the time
I remember when The Onion wrote that article about like a soccer league in BC that stopped using balls, like an actual soccer ball, and they played with an imaginary ball so that the kids couldn't keep score, and at the end everybody won. And I believed it. I didn't know the article was satire. I believed it. And I ended up coming to you and a bunch of other people and being like, yo, did you hear about this bullshit? And then all of a sudden somebody real quick was like, hold on, let me look that up. Wait, dude, that's some bullshit. And I look like the idiot, you know?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they tell me in real time that I'm like, am I the asshole? Community notes, yes.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's great. Yeah, so you know, back to the point, what happens when a lot of these things are automated? When drivers become automated, when your customer service line, which is already to an extent automated, like just about everywhere you call now, it'll give you the option of speaking to a person or working with a robot. And some places you call don't even give you the option, and you're just forced to speak with a robot that is like essentially like Siri. It just, you know, talks back to you and is able to listen to your responses. Like,
Yep.
what happens when entire sectors of the population that, like, whose workforce, they're not exactly young, they're not in their 20s, they can't just pivot and get another summer job or something, they have a mortgage to pay, they got kids, they got this, they got that, bad back, what have you. What happens when those people are out of a job? Like, these kind of problems, right? Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, we're headed towards a precipice where, like, we're not ready to tackle these problems. And if anything illustrates the point more than anything, if any proof can, it's how the government handled COVID. That alone is indication enough that they do not have their shit together.
No,
there's a story.
absolutely not.
There's a story that just came out the other day that the Canadian government had to dump 1 billion vaccine doses. 1 billion with a B.
Mm-hmm.
Let me look it up so I don't.
Yeah,
spread
because last
bullshit.
I heard, fucking Trudeau put in an order for 500 million dosages. Even though we only have like 40 million people in this country. He ordered like 10 doses per.
Yeah, here's a story back in April. Feds get new COVID vaccines as 1.5 billion worth of shots expired or are trashed.
Bravo.
So yeah, that if anything taught me just how inept these people are at solving these problems. So that's all to say that the old world is dead or dying, and good, because it's time for a refresher. And we have, thankfully, these people stepping in, like Elon Musk, to provide an alternative for Joe Rogan. That's all great. That's awesome. We need more of that. We should openly celebrate this. But we also have to realize that just as individuals, like we're capable of doing way more in our lives and enacting way more change to the world than we think that we do. Like, if you have a laptop, if you have an internet connection, if you have a decent job that like pays for the roof over your head and the food in your stomach and the clothes on your back, if you have all that just working a minimum wage job, you have it made. Like, that's pretty fucking good. Even with like debt and everything, like that is, you can do so much. You can have a podcast that's bigger than the government of Canada. Okay? Like,
Yeah,
and we're almost there.
At the rate they're paying for those podcasts. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can get paid for shit posting on Twitter. All you need to do is pay, what is it? Like, it's like $5 or $8 a month for the most basic subscription. You can just engagement farm your entire way up or build something interesting that people like. And next thing you know, you're getting paid hundreds of dollars. You can learn how to draw and start a Patreon, and people can pay you thousands of dollars a month eventually.
Mhm.
Like, there is no limit to just how capable we are in this moment, at least living here in the West. Right? Like, there is so much more that we can do. And it doesn't, like, I'm not arguing for like, oh, everybody has to start working on the birth rate crisis or on automation or crypto or what. Even if it's something as simple as like, I would like to learn something and there's a tutorial online, so I'm going to take the time to do it. Like, oh, I want to learn how to bake bread, or I want to learn how to change a tire, or like just anything that makes you more capable. Like we need to lean into that because it has never been like a better time to do that. Never.
Yeah, and I think that making that distinction is important. Is that it doesn't necessarily have to be like, oh, what's the most prevalent political issue faced by, you know, the people of Manitoba right now. It's like, no, it doesn't. You don't have to go out of your way to do that, to look into that, to try to solve that crisis. All you have to do is just find something you're passionate about and get to it. You know, it was like what you were mentioning in this week's newsletter around that tech kind of forum you went to.
Yeah.
Where like I'll let you explain more in depth about it, but basically the point I was just getting into is that one of the guys that wrote the code for beating that video game, it's like he didn't accomplish anything, right?
No, just a
Nothing crazy came out. Like when I say accomplish anything, I mean like the end point, right? It's like, yeah, he did accomplish something by like working his way through the code and figuring this out and troubleshooting that and so on and so forth, and God knows what the implication of that line of code is in the future and blah 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 blah. But all he did was he decided to fuck around with something, and he fucked around with it so hard that he was like, look at this fucking thing I did.
Yeah, he just came on and showcased it. And the game in question, for those that know or don't, is called Factorio. It's a very difficult game to play. It takes 50 hours to beat it, and I'm talking like you're speed running it. Okay, if you're doing 50 hours, especially on the first try. I'm just gonna put this replay here on 2x because this is gonna be a while. But even just getting into how he's building the base, and long story short, the way that you play this game is you land on a planet. Your job is to extract resources and to build infrastructure so that you can send a rocket into space and send out a satellite so that you can find other planets and so on and so forth. But when you shoot your first rocket, that's when you win. That's like the base game. And you start mining minerals out of the ground, and then the miners need electricity, obviously, so you have to source that from somewhere. The power plants need cooling, so you need to find water somewhere. There's all sorts of fauna and enemies in the on the map that you have to deal with. You have to build a base, get security, trains to train. Long story short, you're building out all this infrastructure. It gets very, very granular and complicated the more that you dig into it. So the fact that this guy was able to take like what's called the command line and write code so that it would essentially just execute the quickest path to finish this game, right? Just like right here. I think he did a 7-minute 30-second launch. I don't think this was hours. I highly doubt this was hours. I'm pretty sure this is minutes. And that's how long it took him to complete the game once he wrote the code. It was just for fun. Just an exercise and to see if we can do it. And he fucking did it. Like,
yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome.
And like I was saying, we don't know the full implications of that.
What it could inspire.
Like, did he just write a debugging, software for more complicated algorithms later in the future? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, the point is you made an experience out of it. And it was inspirational. Like when I saw that, I was like, whoa, I never thought that you could like run games like that. But it makes sense. You take their set of instructions, you import it into some kind of a system. But just like all the technical details behind that, it was just really cool to see that. But this night that I went to, so it was called New Demos. It was basically just a showcase of all these different demonstrations that people had of projects. Some of them were products like AI agent platforms where you would essentially have like you could give AI agents a set of instructions. So from my understanding, the way that AI agents work is that you have large language models like ChatGPT or Grok or Perplexity or Meta. They have their own as well. But you also have agents who can act on your behalf. So you give them a set of instructions and they're going to execute it in the order in which you give them. And you can have multiple agents operating at once. So this guy figured out how to make a platform so that you can do that, but also have it look like a video game. So it kind of like had like a visual twist to it. So he was doing that. Then another guy was doing the same idea, but just had a different layout of it, and I think a different execution. Another person was doing this this really cool whiteboarding app called Canopio, which I highly recommend everyone check out. It's great, free to use up to a point, but very good if you're a visual learner and you need to see your ideas fleshed out in some kind of an order like that. Anyways, there were tons of these demos. The point of that night is that it reminded me of just how important it is to do your best to surround yourself with people that are like that are doers, that are creators, that are working on their craft and willing to present it in front of people. Because ultimately, like, these are the people that are going to be pushing the envelope. These are the people that are going to be creating the technologies and the services that we will use in the years down the line. The people that are actually building stuff. Right? And that spirit, it's very difficult to have that spirit if you become a consumer. If you just consume Netflix, if you just smoke weed and drink and you go to work and then you don't really have any aspirations beyond that, if you don't take care of yourself, like that's a very, very negative way to live life. It's a very, very negative way because you become complacent. And this kind of way of life, it seems like it's not just happening like here in North America, like in Japan. Like, why are they having the birth rate crisis? Because the men don't want to marry. they have their anime, they have their hentai, they have their hostess clubs. Is that what they're called? Their fucking maid cafes.
Yeah. I think that's what they're called.
There's 24/7 internet lounges, right? Like there's literally a video. I think Vice.
Hell yeah. Jerking it in public.
No, I mean they get their.
No, I know.
They have their private rooms with like beds and everything. Japan 24/7 internet cafe. I think it was Japan. Yeah, you could like order food. You have your own rooms.
What the fuck? This is a cafe?
Oh yeah, this is a whole industry. They have tons of these places.
Bro, I didn't move to Japan.
You can just you could just like rent a room. You have basic amenities, plenty of tissues, of course.
Oh boy.
Air conditioning. The internet is
control the fan.
Oh my god, the internet is
blistering.
460 megabytes per second. Holy shit.
Dude, I think Japan invented the internet.
Well, they certainly perfected it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you can buy all the snacks you want. There's all these machines. Right? This epidemic of especially men without purpose. Like the best example, like forget fucking I don't even need to pull up statistics. Why was Jordan Peterson so popular for a second there? Because men were desperate. Men were desperate for meaning. They were desperate for a public figure in the realm of culture to give them that message. To say that you need to embrace the struggle of life, you need to take it willingly and move forward despite it. Like this man still goes on global tours to packed audiences. His books sell out. His podcast is doing numbers. Like the man is so big that Justin Trudeau weighs in on him. Like, okay?
Facts.
Like that's massive. He has a lot of influence. Say what you want about his opinions or like how he's gotten more political. Like that's neither here nor there. I don't give a shit. In the moment, what he did for men, and I'll say personally, I think a lot of his ideals and what he was espousing about, like clean up your room, look after yourself as if you would look after a loved one or a pet. Make something of yourself. These were things that I desperately needed to hear when I had barely any outside influence giving me that message.
Yeah.
And he did that for millions of men around the world. it's a solid reminder that, like, yeah, you can just do stuff. You can just do stuff. You can just decide to wake up tomorrow and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna take a course. Harvard offers plenty of free courses. Khan Academy has tons of courses. And if you don't know how to find them, you just Google it. Free online courses. It's right there. You know?
It's right there, right at your fingertips. The whole world.
Yeah. It's a fucking miracle. Some people that even work in their day jobs can do this as they're working their other day job.
Yeah.
And just about any piece of information. You want to learn how to get access to books that you don't have access to in your country, you can. You want to learn how to change a tire or do something physical or install a sink or proper tiling or whatever the fuck, you can do that. There's plenty of guys online doing that. DIY projects. If you want to learn how to set up a community, like, there's no shortage of it. The internet has made it possible.
Yep. If it exists, the internet has a how-to on it.
Yeah, and once again, it has never been more important for people to do this. Like, that's my main. If you get anything from listening to this, I want that to be the main point. It has never been more important for people to actively participate like this, because nobody's coming to save us. Okay, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody. These governments and all these people within these systems, whether it's the news or schools, the education system, the justice system, right? All these various, like, they don't give a fuck. They don't. At best, you have your friends and your family to count on and yourself. That's it. Beyond that, I don't know. I wouldn't put a lot of faith in them.
No, I'm right there with you. The world's getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah, and anything that makes you more capable in navigating that, so that if, God forbid, you lose your job or you're not able to get healthcare through your government provided needs, anything that can give you an edge, a competitive edge, a leg up from that, so that you do have that access, you do have security and a sense of purpose, or you're able to look after the health of your loved ones, anything that can get you to that next step, that is of the utmost priority. And if I'm getting, like, too in the weeds with this, let me put it this way, okay? There's no such thing as the company man anymore. Right? Like, those days of you sticking with a place from the day that you graduate school to the day that you die, like, that era is gone. It's done. This whole graduate university, get a house, marry, in that order or whatever, that world was possible for our parents and their parents. But unless you luck out, like, that's very tough. And I'm not making an argument for it to come back. I'm just saying that way of the world that our parents relied on and tried to give us advice on, to say that we should follow in their footsteps or do this or do that, it's not working.
Yeah. Well, and see, I would argue against that point. I would say it would be a good thing to come back, because the reason that we were able to have the basic company man in the first place is because you had that sense of community within the company, Where now, you're saying, oh, there's no such thing as the company man. Well, of course not, because my upper manager pisses me off. The branch manager is a fucking piece of shit. He works out of fucking Texas. He doesn't know what the hell is going on over here. The CEO's over in Cancun and doesn't give a fuck about this business because he's got 7 other fucking empires going. Like, it's just, there's no sense of community anymore. It's just a disaster.
Yeah, it's all stratified.
If you had that again, then you would see people be loyal to their employers or places of employment or brands or whatever the fuck you want to put it. But yeah, no, of course not. With the way it's going now, like you said, nobody you can really rely on other than friends and family anymore. So you might as well push off and try to branch out into your own sphere. Like you said, have some kind of concrete foundation you can fall back on if, God forbid, your job gets automated.
Or you get
your
canceled.
job becomes fucking obsolete.
Yeah. Or you get canceled, or you get socially ostracized, or what have you.
Or yeah, there are so many fucking landmines to play with these days.
Well, yeah, the safety net is it's gone from under us in a lot of ways. Like, it still remains. Like, in Canada here, like, I know of plenty of people that took out student loans, and they're just going on repayment assistance and letting the clock run out, because after a certain time, if you don't if you're not able to pay for your student loans, the government actually just closes it. And there's still quite a few like safety nets that exist, but a lot of the ones that have seemed fundamental for the longest time that we, I guess, took for granted because we thought that they were just basic rights and freedoms afforded
We
to
thought
us.
they were absolutes, yeah.
Yeah, we thought that
Without
like,
putting in the work.
you show up to emergency, you're gonna get seen and not, ignored for 6 hours and then go home and you die. Like, that's not. I don't think that's the Canada that a lot of people grew up in. So whatever it is that gives you that competitive edge, whatever it is that gives you that advantage, whether it's in like, I'm not advocating for any of these things, or at least I'm not advocating for this one, like investing in crypto. Like, that's a fucking black box. Like, to me, it just seems like a lot of it is scammy, just because the real world use cases just are not as prevalent yet. But there's no doubt that people can make like a lot of money in crypto if they know what they're doing. There's no doubt. Like, even like something as rug pulling, right? There's plenty of people that make out like bandits, or at least enough of them to make it look attractive. Like, I'm not saying like fuck people over, but whatever it is that can give you that extra edge, you have to use it. You have to.
Hell yeah, time to become a scammer.
See,
time to scam old ladies right out of their fucking pensions.
That's why I said the disclaimer. That's why I don't want it to be misconstrued as that.
Grandma in jail. I need bail.
Okay. All right, I'm not saying that you should automate a website to fucking do that, to robocall.
I'm not
people.
saying you should.
I'm not saying you should. I'm saying you can. I'm saying you can.
I'm saying it's possible.
Yeah. So, look, at the end of the day, it's the people that are actually like they're building stuff. They're creating something. This is gonna drive progress forward, and we need more people that are capable like that, and we need more people to become more capable of that. And you can. That's the great part. You can. There's limitless tools. I mean, just in the piece alone. What did I mention? Come on, there's gotta be. I remember I listed them. Where is this shit?
Listed what? What were you looking for?
Here it is. Yeah, I was looking for the list of resources. ChatGPT is absolutely free to use for anyone that signs up. And it is multimodal, so I believe even on the free trial, you should be able to attach files. Perplexity is a free search engine, just like Google. Free to use, but you can also pay for Pro. I think right now they have a discount for $5 for the first month for a subscription, and then $20 after that. Code Academy is free if you want to learn coding. It's a place that has a lot of tutorials and things that you can try in a huge community that spans the entire globe. Khan Academy, same idea, except it's online schooling for just about every subject. And I mean every subject. Like, I took a look at them the other day, and I was like genuinely blown away by how much they have. Like, look at this. Every single grade of math, pre-K to 8th and beyond, high school math, computing, arts and humanities, economics, science, test prep for standardized tests, life skills, social and emotional learning, internet safety, financial literacy, reading and language arts, ancient art, biodiversity. Look, the list goes on and on and on. There are countless resources out there for everyone to use. Fucking YouTube, okay? Like YouTube is that's the easiest one. Everybody knows about YouTube. If you have a problem with your computer, there is somebody in India that recorded a video 10 years ago overset to some
That
shitty
typed it out in
fucking-
English on Notepad.
Dude, okay, let me. This is a classic video because I love the music. It's always the same song.
It's
that they
always the
choose.
same song.
Hold on, Windows.
It's already
7
playing in my head.
No, Windows Vista troubleshooting. I will find something.
Hell yeah.
Here it is. Let me see. Come on. There's gotta be tutorial. 10 years ago. No, this one seems official. I want to find like from like a. No, I don't need this. Come on. I need like some shitty fucking account. Is this it? Is this the music? No. It's just like EDM soundtrack. You know the one I
the
mean.
music you're looking
You
for,
know the one
too.
I mean.
Windows help and support.
No.
Oh Jesus! They got an AI lady talking now.
Hold on. Oh my fucking god.
What the hell? Jesus!
This is a good song. LimeWire? Driver skin? Device manager? Oh. Take me back.
Windows Live Messenger. Who the hell is this?
For anyone listening and not watching, this is we're watching a tutorial on how to diagnose an issue in Windows Vista. That fucking ugly hunk of shit. Okay, no,
Jesus.
this is not the song I wanted. Where is it? Oh, this one doesn't even have any music. Okay, no, guys, we are not going to rest until we find this. This is
You gotta-
actually... There's got to be something.
Is where all the settings are.
No, this one's official. I'm going to sort by views, because the most viewed one should have...
Do subscribe to MJTube and hit
Damn.
missing.
Okay, well, that guy was Indian, so that proved my point. But no, I want to find that stupid song. Why is it so hard? This is so strange.
Hello, Internet.
This is like the one time that you can't find it is when you want to find it.
Brother, I can't believe I'm about to give up because I don't want this to become the podcast.
Watch it not exist. Fucking Mandela effect.
Boy, I'm gonna show you guys how.
Jesus. He's getting bad.
Wow.
It's like every time you look up something like how to deactivate such and such a program, it comes up with fucking
Hi, this tutorial.
written on Notepad.
This guy's got anime girls as his
That's
desktop.
classy, bro. Right in the middle too, not even like filling out the desktop, just in the middle.
That is awful. Okay, sorry guys. I was really hoping to find that song. That's such a good song. Oh well. In any case, point is, if you need something fixed, if you're trying to figure out how to do something, there are millions of tutorials online. Like before
Just do it.
before asking anybody for anything, just about, like, I will ask the internet first.
The internet knows all.
Oh, it's a great repository of information, and we've gotten only better at organizing it. Just exponentially better at organizing it and turning it into useful tools. Like I have a whole bookmark folder for this. Like if you want to learn how to pirate shit, Reddit has a forum for that. If you want to learn how to steal media, which you should never do, okay, never.
You should never do.
You should never, ever, ever, ever download free torrent clients that are safe and secure to use. You should never do that. I am not
Always
advocating
pay
for it.
full price from a
Always.
licensed vendor.
Always pay for the copyright. Always. Okay, guys, don't do this. Don't do any of this. But yeah, like all this stuff that I have here, there's websites with entire exercise routines. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing at a gym and you're self-conscious or whatever the fuck, you can just Google this shit. It's all out there.
Yeah.
I didn't know a thing about live streaming until I was like, fuck it, why don't we just start it once a week? Let's see what happens. And I'm not an overnight success story, nor do I want to be, but I don't know. I think this ain't half bad. We're making fun with it.
No, but we're doing it. That's the thing, right?
And we're doing it. Yeah. Yeah, and that is absolutely critical.
We're doing the thing.
We're doing stuff. And the only way that the needle gets pushed, the only way that any of this happens is when people do stuff. When they step outside of their status quo, when they step outside of all these boundaries that are set up, and they make something. Like, there's a lot of, probably the majority of people that work, there's no like actual creative task where you're making something unique. A lot of it is just cogs in the machine, and those are needed, right? Like, I'm not saying everybody needs to be a creator. I'm just saying we need to maximize that spirit because it's useful.
Yeah, but a daily problem solver isn't the creative output you're talking about.
No, that's different. But that's needed too. We need people to work the infrastructure. We need people to oversee all these things so that there's more people that can create and benefit from it. Because then we can just live. Absolutely.
Just hoping.
But no, it was great to see when I went to that demo night, the spirit, and that it's keeping on. Like, as a result of what's been happening, at least here in Toronto, in British Columbia, they've started to have meetups of their own. And I'm not saying that to say like, oh, Toronto like sparked some kind of spirit, but whatever like energy they were bouncing off of each other, all these different regions online, it's great. We need more of that. We need more people to explore these things. You know? Like there's one guy that I know. Let me see if I can. Pretty sure I featured him in one of my posts today. No way. Did I actually forget to? His app was called Thirst Quench, I think. Okay, this is this is pulling up all sorts of results.
This is getting dangerous.
Well, it was called Quench, I swear.
Yeah, well, you want to be careful with that one.
Gotta be real careful with that one on Twitter.
Sorry, YouTube.
Well, no, this is not going on YouTube. No, fuck no.
Oh.
No, this episode. No,
I don't know where we are.
No, we're at Rumble and Spotify for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I mean, if they're listening, they know. But no, I forget. Damn, I can't find.
If they're listening, they know.
Yeah.
It's an amazing fucking statement.
That guy, he made an app. I've told you about this before, where he essentially had ChatGPT write up all of these examples of different hobbies and things that people could do. And it gave them like a step-by-step breakdown of how they can actually like do that hobby. Like, you want to learn how to sew? Well, this is how you start. You want to learn how to bake? This is where it's recommended you start. And that app, it runs on autopilot. You know, he has to update it or maintain it, and he's just making bank, like thousands of bucks a month, and it's just on autopilot. This guy decided to just make something of himself, or just make something in his basement. You know, there's these guys that actually announced today If I can find, I think it's called Truffle. Yeah. So these guys were, I think they're actually the first, at least in America, if not North America, to create something like this. This is a computer that has AI built into it. So its entire purpose is to run a local model so that you're not relying on a cloud. And this model that they have the working inside of it is closed source, so they're not revealing the weights or any of the training that they use to make it. But it can create different AI agents to do different tasks for you, whether it's processing information or what have you, like whatever you can use to throw at AI. And these guys made it in a garage in LA. Like this is a classic like Apple, Microsoft like kind of story, if it actually like goes somewhere. And they've just been building it out in the open for everyone. And now they're taking it on the road. They're gonna be starting to ship units in January. They just released it today. They got 333 units to go, and they're hand delivering 50 units in the U.S. So they're just like taking an RV across the country to do it. Like that's cool. That's awesome. These guys just got together. They're like, "Fuck it, we're gonna make our impact, make something new, something that's never been done before, just because we can, and it's gonna be a fucking blast." That's amazing. That's awesome. Building a computer from scratch, from first principles. Not from first principles, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. I like how it's on top of a pizza box.
Oh yeah, I just noticed. Yeah, no, they weren't lying. Yeah, it's built in a fucking garage. And I don't even think they have an address for their company. Because naturally they can't I don't think they can feature that information, obviously. They had it somewhere as like a little quote here on the website, but I don't think I can find it. And look, like this isn't like a computer that like, I don't know, you'd buy for your... Oh, here it is. Built and assembled somewhere in a garage in Los Angeles. Yeah. And like this obviously isn't... This is a very specialized piece of equipment that like people in the space would understand its use case for and be able to take advantage of it. I understand this is for a very niche market, but this is fucking cool, man. This is cool. These guys just like, they made the silicone molds, the design, the hardware, they had to get it together, the model that they had to train. Like, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
That's next level.
Like, these are the kind of people that shift the needle, that make change happen. Like, that's big. We should celebrate that. And it's no surprise that of all the places this would happen, it's in America.
Yeah, true.
Like, is it really all that surprising? America is the place for it. Absolutely. No, you love to see it, man. I love to see stuff like that. I don't get it. So I can't fully appreciate it. I'm not nearly as like into it as these people. But this is fucking cool. I know a cool thing when I see it, and that's fucking cool. Look at that shit. It fucking glows. Yeah, and that's just one story. This guy made a meme search engine. So any meme. Just think of a meme. Think of an obscure meme.
Meme search engine.
Think of an obscure meme.
Oh, I don't know any obscure fucking memes.
Oh, I tried to give it Tele Francais and it couldn't find it. For those that don't know, Tele Francais is a show, a French show. Oh, here it is. Yep, found it. Found a meme. Je suis un ananas. Canadians should recognize that. Anyway, it's a puppet show that was hosted by a fucking talking pineapple, which was horrific to look at as a kid. Like, it just looked so fake. But yeah, I remember watching that. It was funny. Anyway, so meme search engine. Let's see what else. This guy built a YouTube shell called Token, so that essentially you can submit a link to this website, like from a YouTube video, and if it's like good, people can give it a token if they think it's good, and then it goes up in the ratings. So instead of an algorithm, people decide. The people can vote, and it's any video is fair game. So if you wanted to, you could set up like an automatic service to like just pump it full of Mr. Beast videos, but because nobody wants to see that shit on a platform that's catered specifically to finding like good, like, you know, quality videos that make you think twice or look at something different or appreciate animation or what have you, just something that elicits a stronger reaction than, you know, just mouth open watching fucking Mr. Beast like give away $1 bajillion to like some disabled kid in Papua New Guinea or whatever the fuck. Like,
look at like mouth open, like gawking, drooling motherfuckers watching this shit.
Yeah, dude, you are doing zero nasal breathing when you're in that state. Come on. Nothing. There's nothing going in the nose, okay? So, yeah, like, this guy just built it. He's like, fuck it, I'm tired of seeing slop. I'm tired of seeing this shit on YouTube. Let me make something different. And he did. And it works. It works. I use it. Highly recommend it. It's called token.tv for anyone that's listening. It's great. You could when you sign up, it gives you like the top recommendation of the day. So even if you don't have time to browse it, it just sends you like whatever the most highly voted thing is. And it's not guaranteed quality, but it's better than just letting an algorithm decide. You know? Now it's we the people. It's getting the people involved, which is great.
Yeah, true. Well, this was what I was talking about before, just being able to vote and feel like we have more control, right?
Absolutely.
Forcing the masses to vote on shit especially is huge.
Absolutely.
Being able to take their feedback.
Yeah, because there's a clear disconnect. Even with the new systems, there's a lot of disconnect with what happens when YouTube, you know, demonetizes or pushes out creators for breaking rules or what have you. Like, even a lot of the present existing systems have a lot of issues with them. You know, the Twitter files showed us just as much. And the Twitter files exist for every company, I would assume. So there's got to be probably some Snapchat files, some YouTube files. Facebook files have kind of been leaked, but still, there's plenty that we don't know.
There's plenty that we don't know.
Yeah. So that's good to have these alternatives. These places where people are just like, fuck it, I see a problem, I'm going to build a solution. And we're going to make it happen. Yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say on that. I was thinking of wrapping up in a bit. What are you saying? What are you saying?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Sounds good. Yeah, so once again, thanks you guys for tuning in. Appreciate you coming on, James. It was good to have
absolutely.
It was good to have
pleasure, man.
For anyone that is interested, if you need to know any updates regarding the stream, upcoming interviews, posts, what have you, link in my bio.link/Whitepill. And you'll find the Substack and the Spotify, Rumble, all that good stuff there. Got a lot of stuff coming in the pipeline, so, you know, here's hoping we can just keep consistent with this, because, I don't know, it's just fun. It's fun talking about this shit, how just crazy the world is. Otherwise, I just go crazy if I just keep it to myself.
Yeah. Well, we haven't been able to keep it to ourselves for a long time, but it's nice to get it out there rather than bouncing it in this echo chamber.
Yeah. Exactly.
The walls are loud in here, man. God damn.
They can be. They sure can be. But yeah, man, thanks again for coming on. Appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Tune in next week, guys, or whenever we stream next. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.